Bruno and Marty here in London.
Well, we are at the Toy Fair in London today, and I'm here with Marty Abrams, who created the famous Mego company. Did you create it, or was it your father?
Well, it was a combination. My father was in front of me, but we're really talking about action figures, and that's what we're here to say. And that was really what it was my contribution.
Okay, so basically in the 70s, you have to know that Mego was the king of action figures in the US and worldwide, wasn't it?
Well, at the moment, yes, it was. We were lucky because we were the first ones to do both Batman and Spider-Man, which is Marvel and Warner's, out of a huge library of product. So that really established the focus of what the action figure business was then and where it would eventually evolve today.
And at that time, I suppose that the superhero market was absolutely huge, wasn't it?
At that moment, there was absolutely zero.
Zero?
That's how I was fortunate enough to get into it, because there was no individual characters as superheroes prior to what Mego did with the very, very first Batman. The only action figure that was out there prior was G.I. Joe, and that was launched about 7 years earlier, and it was coming quite candidly to its end of its run. And when we reestablished the branding in that area, we were really the first ones to do the whole superhero business, which included Batman and Robin, which included the Hulk and Spider-Man, Iron Man, the whole group of characters. Before that, none of that existed.
And then, of course, there was Star Trek and Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, Star Trek, Planet of the Apes, Micronauts, Fonzie, Dukes of Hazzard, all the cultural norms of that time we were part of.
And so now we're quite later. I mean, it's no longer the 70s. So what actually gave you the idea to do a big comeback for Mego?
Well, all you have to do is walk to any store in the country and you would see Mego-like product everywhere. They were doing my Batman as a Mego-like Batman. They were doing my Spider-Man as a Mego-like Spider-Man. And it quite candidly disturbed me for a while. I put my head into the sand, did not want to bother it. And eventually I said, well, listen, enough is enough. And we made the decision to come back. We got rid of all the Mego-likes. They couldn't use that any longer. And then we were fortunate enough that all the major studios really embraced us and said, that's what you should be doing, and we got all the licenses back.
So basically, was it easy to actually get back to all the licensors and tell them, Mego is back, we want to do your products? Were you welcomed by all those main companies?
We were welcomed back by everybody, which does not mean everybody gave us their licenses, but they welcomed us back. Having said that, there's some contractual relationships that Marvel has, for example, with Hasbro, so we can't get around that, and there are a couple other areas. But other than Marvel and a little bit of Star Wars, virtually every other major studio, minus studio, individual owners, television companies, all have given us their licenses and have welcomed them with open arms, quite candidly.
Okay. And so basically now you're back with Star Trek and Planet of the Apes and the superheroes, and we've seen some new licenses as well, which would have been, I would say, associated with a Mego product. Like, I mean, I see behind me, for example, Alice Cooper or Rick and Morty.
Yeah, Ted Lasso. The contemporary cultural phenomenons we try to adapt to that is happening today. And the Mego collector is embracing us. And we talk to them, as you well know, we talk to them as ambassadors all the time. And they give us the input of where to go and how to address those marketplaces. For example, we've got a whole relationship now with Netflix. And we brought in another brand called Minix, which is a very contemporary brand, a little more edgy than the Mego stuff, to turn around and do the whole Netflix library, such as Witcher, such as Wednesday, such as Stranger Things. So we know that at the end of the day, we have several markets to play with, but in those markets, they have a contemporary look, and some of the characters don't fit a certain position, and it may fit in the other. That's what we want to be able to do. It's to service what people think Mego is, what Mego will be, and what Mego could be, because that's what we want to be able to do, is let their fantasies run wild, come back to us and tell us what you would like us to do, and that's where we're headed, by the way.
And so you're mentioning Minix, which is your brand new line of products. What can you tell us a bit? Well, you've spoken about the licenses like Stranger Things and Wednesday, and what kind of product is that, and what is the audience you're trying to reach, the public, the customer you're trying?
Well, there's a very uniqueness to Minix. It's almost characteristic and caricature positions of the look. And so it takes us to a very edgy area and allows us to really expand in areas where you can't do that with the superheroes. You have to be very, especially in the Mego universe, it has to be very specific, dead on, and exactly perfect. Where we don't have that same issue with Minix, and it allows us to turn around and take it to a different, unique place. So the combination works out very, very well for us.
Looking forward to seeing Minix, but otherwise you're mentioning them, Mego of the future, Mego of the present, Mego of the past. Are there any other products or concepts that you are developing other than Minix and the 8 inches or 14 inches figures that you currently have?
You know, I've been in the toy business all my life, been probably in the golden area of toys, which is between 1968 and 1984, when everything was new, it was innovative. 1978 was considered the break year between when smart toys came out, stuff like a Furby, stuff like 2XL, interactive. So having bridged those two areas, we went back into some of my library of products that I've done in the past, a la Sky Dancer, which was a flying action doll, beautiful, gorgeous doll. And then we turned around, took some of our superheroes, and we turned them into flying characters. We have a whole flying hero group that were coming out that include product that we haven't done in the past, but product like Sonic, product like Transformers, that literally you pull a string and flies in the air. And then we have another positioning where we have a whole line of product where you literally hold it in your hand. I can't explain this to you, but the action figures will fly right out of your hand, literally just by letting go. As it flies into the air, it starts to drift down, you put your hand underneath it, hits your hand, flies up twice as high. You can let it go again. It will hit the floor. Hits the floor, bounces up, chest high, you hit it again, and flies off. So we have the ability to turn around and take all these figures, put them into unique mechanisms, and bring them to the marketplace that no one really has because of the history of what we've done in the past and how we view the future.
It's very, very cool. And going back to I would say the traditional Mego figures, the 8 inches. What is your favorite character or license that you've done so far?
Well, you know, it's I go by my relationships and friends. This guy has become a friend of mine. This guy has become a friend of mine. He is Stan Lee. That's right. Those are the characters that individually may not be the best sellers, but they are my favorite. Mr. Shatner, who I adore, and who, by the way, is now 92 years old, and he's going into space. And the last piece over there in the corner, if you could just take a quick shot of it, which is Spock. And that is just an incredible piece. Execution. For this price point, these are pretty extraordinary pieces.
Are you planning on developing the 8 inches range with play sets or vehicles? I know they're expensive to develop.
No. That's where we're going. We've tried to stay in a very low commercial area, price point wise, for the collectability, because we knew we had to establish that as a base. But there's no question that is coming off the rows, and we're going everywhere, every price point, all in terms of bandwidth, all in terms of collectability, all in terms of environments. If it works for the character, the previous iteration, it will work now, and that's where we're going.
And speaking of the other range, which is the 14 inches figures, are we going to see them back? Because we haven't seen them for a while.
Well, we're taking a hard look at that, and we're building it at different price points. So we just want you to use your imagination. You know what's out there in competitive price points, and we don't care if it's $100, $200, $300 retails. None of that matters to us any longer. We now know that our collectors are back. They are with us. They want us to see us execute it because we were the first ones to do the 12-inch action figure. We were the first ones to do the 8-inch, and quite candidly, we were the first ones to do the 3 3/4 inches in comic action. So we established all these different sizes. We will take advantage of that imprimatur as we move forward.
Basically, you're saying, is there any, you were talking about licenses and stuff, that is there any license that you've always wanted to have and couldn't get so far?
Well, the reality check is
That you would want to have.
I've always gotten the license we wanted. If there's a contractual position between me and the licensor with a third party, we have to respect that, and which we do. That does not mean that there's not an opportunity for us to get around those contracts strictly ethically, all right? But we have to turn around and be able to put in literally the creative as well as the innovation to make it work, and that's what we're attempting to do at the moment.
And speaking of working with third-party companies, you've been doing some collaborations with Hasbro on G.I. Joe and Ghostbusters. Is there any other plans for collaborations with them? You don't have to reveal anything.
Well, I certainly can't reveal anything because with them it's very, unique, because when they want to announce, it's their time to announce. But we're always in talks with everybody. Yes, I want to thank you so much for having me, and you're a delightful man.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
And it's very surprising to meet you here in the UK at the show. It was very exciting to see you. And I want to wish you all the best.
Well, thank you very much again for spending time with us, and hope you enjoy London. Do you have time to do other things that the Toy Fair? Will you be able to do some tourist things at least?
No.
Oh, that's a shame.
We came here for one reason and one reason only. This Toy Fair, to meet the people, to greet the people, to let them know that we're here, let them know how we're back. Just to give you an idea, we are showing with 4 separate companies, which includes Bandai and Minix, which includes this company here, which is Heisai, which has been an incredible partner. Darren Epstein, who loves to fly under the radar, I'm going to announce how fantastic he is publicly here. On top of that, we've got Character Options, which is a major European as well as English company, and then there's Vivid, who's doing Skydancer for us. So we have 4 separate companies, 5 different brands, 80 different items. We're pretty excited about what's going on.
Well, enjoy the rest of the Toy Fair, and thank you very much for spending time with us.
Thank you.
Take care.